Alright, so at the time I'm recording this, Voltron Legendary Defender Season 7 has been out for about 24 hours. But lo and behold, it took a lot less time than that for the Outrage Warriors to come out of the woodwork. And rather than come up with some criticisms about the new season that might actually hold up, like various subplots being rushed or certain characters getting shortchanged, and I'll talk about that another time, what really seems to have gotten people's back up, so much so that they're threatening the cast and crew with physical violence in some cases, is this alleged queerbaiting controversy. We were promised LGBT representation, but then they just used it to spit in all our faces! Shame on them! Every word is a lie! Those bastards! Wow. It's hard to believe that just a few short weeks ago, these same people were foaming at the mouth with excitement at the confirmation of an LGBT character being a part of this show. But as the internet is wont to do, it blew things out of proportion immediately. And one need only peruse the Voltron Legendary Queerbait hashtag for a minute to see just how crazy this situation has become. How people feel somehow attacked, that the cast and crew have supposedly reneged on promises they made to the fans. Well, my friends, allow me to be the bucket of cold water in your faces, because this victim narrative you've concocted for yourselves is more than a little flimsy. And heads up, because there's spoilers incoming. You queerbaited all of us, as well as promising us Adam and Shiro, only to kill Adam and not leave any room for Shiro to grieve. It was said that Clance would be a healthy romance in Endgame, yet you didn't give us any hints toward that. They would have made more money and gotten more views if they didn't queerbait us and actually delivered what they preached. We deserve an apology. You don't hype fans for LGBT representation if you're not gonna deliver it at all. It wasn't addressed except when you murdered part of the rep to make the other gay character you were planning on killing from the start suffer. The main issue here isn't that we're not getting any endgame LGBT couples, the issue is that they told us we were. They were so proud when announcing that Shiro was gay and that he had a fiancé. So fucking pleased. And so on, and so on. You should be starting to get the picture by now. And my goodness, the sheer entitlement radiating from you people in the quote-unquote fan community. I am genuinely embarrassed for all of us. So let me clarify a few details about this situation, because it seems that the angry masses are ignoring a number of cold hard facts and only seeing what they want to see in order to enforce their argument regardless of how transparent it is. If you attended the Voltron panel at San Diego Comic-Con this year, or read any of the numerous interviews that co-showrunners Lauren Montgomery and Joaquim DeSantos have done on this subject, you would know just how very wrong all these tweets are. First, it's been very clearly stated that Adam was not Shiro's fiancé. They may have gone on to become engaged had things turned out differently, but the relationship ended before that happened. Lauren Montgomery pointed this out for everyone. I know there's been some conflicting information about this, with some articles saying that there was an engagement, but there wasn't. They were on their way to getting engaged, but they didn't reach that point before they broke up over Shiro wanting to go on the Kerberos mission. In fact, the very scene in which Adam is introduced is the scene where he ends their relationship. This was a scene in the episode screened at San Diego Comic-Con. I thought that scene made it perfectly clear that Adam was not going to be a major character and was really only there as a way to introduce Shiro as the LGBT rep for this show. But ever since then, based on this one scene, so many people have been romanticizing Adam and building up this relationship in their minds into something that it was never going to be and was never promised to be in the first place, to the point that they would likely have been pissed off no matter what was done with it. But here's the really important part. The Voltron cast and producers did not queerbait you. You queerbaited yourselves, and now you're angry that the show's official canon doesn't enforce your headcanon and you're looking for somewhere to put the blame. They did not lie to you, they did not break any promises, they did not say that Adam and Shiro were engaged, they did not say Adam and Shiro would reconcile, they did not say this would be an endgame couple. You made that up yourselves. I'm sorry, but those things were never promised. There were two things that were promised. One, there will be LGBT representation in Voltron, and two, Adam exists and you will meet him. Both these things they promised, and they delivered. You wanted LGBT representation? Boom. Shiro, Takeshi Shirogane, one of the leads of the series, one of the most respected characters, someone everybody looks up to and admires, the perfect leader, the perfect soldier, hero to the entire human race, is a gay man. You wanted to meet his former partner Adam? Boom. You met him. That is it. That's what they said they'd do, and they did just that. Adam was never promised to be a major character, so you claiming that he was, that they somehow lied to you, that they queerbaited you, is just a bunch of BS. Now, you may not like what was done with these characters, but Shiro is still very much alive, he remains an important part of the show, and Adam remains an important part of his backstory that informs his character. Shiro not being given time to grieve for Adam? Well, gosh, maybe that's because their relationship had already been over and they hadn't even seen each other for several years by the time Shiro learned that Adam had been killed, and he was also kind of preoccupied with this business of dealing with the Galran occupation of Earth. Given the circumstances, maybe there just wasn't time to dwell on the fate of a minor supporting character who only appeared in 2 scenes. Now, I do understand people being upset that Adam was killed. That is your right, and that's fine. But the writers are telling a story about a war. Characters die in war all the time. Straight characters, and yes, gay characters too. A minor supporting player being LGBT doesn't mean they get automatic main character shields, unless you want the show to resort to blatant tokenism, and I think we can all do without being patronized like that. And sue me for connecting these 2 particular dots if you want, but personally I think a lot of this outcry is stemming from disgruntled Clance fangirls who are butthurt about Lance deciding that after crushing on Allura for the entirety of the series, he'd rather see that through than suddenly realize in the penultimate season that he'd like to bone Keith instead. And if you think the Shiro-Adam situation has gotten out of hand, people have been stretching so damn far to find things to get outraged over about this one. ZOMG, I did a search for Clance and it led me to a Voltron page. Why would that happen if Clance wasn't canon? They've been queerbaiting us this whole time! Guys, come on. Do you not understand how the internet works? A search for 2 major Voltron characters leading you to a Voltron webpage or video is not queerbaiting. You thinking Clance will be a thing, despite the complete lack of hard evidence in the show over 6 seasons while Lance has been crushing on a girl the whole time, is not queerbaiting. The cast and crew acknowledging Clance and not going out of their way to rule out the possibility of it is not queerbaiting. The producers promising and delivering a gay character, not to mention an additional gay relationship that came as a surprise, only for you to not like what they did with them, is not queerbaiting. Now, you can play the bury your gays trope card if you want to, but when the show features one of its most important and most prominent characters as a gay person who perseveres despite losses and hardships and ultimately rises above them stronger for it, I really don't think that applies either. Frankly, I think way too many people went into this situation just looking for things to get upset about, trying to twist anything the show did into something they could start a hashtag about to drum up social media points. Not unlike all those Tumblr fangirls who love nothing more than to hyperanalyze every single thing about a show down to the tiniest detail, and then twist those details around and reinterpret them in such a way that supports their own agenda until they start seeing things that aren't actually there. Well, forgive me for being blunt, but if you're so consumed by a narrative that you're willing to take a barely visible rainbow that appears on the screen for 2 seconds in an episode from 6 seasons ago as undeniable proof that 2 characters who have never shown the slightest romantic interest in each other are destined to be an LGBT endgame couple, and if that doesn't happen then we've all been queerbaited, maybe you need to take a step away from your computer for a while. Don't get me wrong, I think having LGBT representation is a good thing, and there's nothing wrong with wanting it and wanting it portrayed in a better way. All I'm saying is, try not to lose your grip on reality in the process. Sure, sometimes a rainbow can be meant to symbolize something, but sometimes a rainbow is just a fucking rainbow.